Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Safety Systems. When it comes to home security, no one in East Tennessee provides better equipment, better service, better contracts than Safety Systems. Everyone wants doorbell cameras these days. They offer those as well. Call VFL J.J. Surlis and his team this week. All right, take a look here at the bowl viewership numbers. Michigan, Alabama, 27 million people watched that game. Wow. Washington and Texas, more than 18 million. Georgia, Florida State, Missouri, Ohio State, Ole Miss, Penn State. And then the only one outside that big New Year's Six group was the Citrus Bowl, Tennessee and Iowa. Usually if it's a blowout, the number drops. So for Tennessee to get nearly 7 million people to watch that game, that is a good thing. That's a lot of eyeballs watching you kick tail against a 10-win team on New Year's Day. So let me ask you this. A month ago, we talked about it on this show. How do you view this season? Was it a disappointment? Was it a good year? Where is it? And it kind of depends on where you started, I suppose. But I'll ask you now, in hindsight, you're 9-4. You go to a major bowl game. Citrus Bowl's a major game, always gets eyeballs on New Year's Day, as you just saw. You whipped up a team on New Year's Day, and Nico made a triumphant entry into the Tennessee football world. So, 2023, Marlon, was it a good season or was it a disappointing season?
Good season. Good season. We lost a lot of key guys. I stick with that. I think Jalen Hyatt's hard to replace. I think Hendon Hooker, obviously hard to replace. I think to finish the season 9-4, especially where we've come from in the past, I can show you guys some very daunting seasons. So for me, I'm gonna say that it was a good season. Good season.
I think it was a disappointing season, but I think for this to be a disappointing season at 8-4 shows you that the program's in great shape. So it's still disappointing because you lost to that awful Florida team. You got blown out by Missouri like that. You went 8-4 in a year where you had so many upperclassmen on your roster. You had 10 of your 11 starters on defense were seniors.
Unless you started the year and said 8 was a possibility.
Yeah, well,
it's like John let it go.
So.
Some of us messed up and said 10 wins. And so, to me, that means Tennessee was a disappointing team this year.
I would say you overhyped it going in, but okay. Yeah, I would say it was a good season with a couple of disappointing games.
Right.
Would be the way I would sum it up. But disappointing, good. What are you saying?
I think it might have felt like a disappointment at times, but when you step back and look how you finished, how many programs won 20 games over 2 years? That elevates you up into something right there. I went back and looked at the 4 losses. Who were you going to beat in those 4? You hadn't won in Florida since 2003?
Yeah.
Your average margin in your 4 losses was 34-13. All 4 of those games, I don't think you're going to win any of them. You can't downplay going to Missouri. That was a good football team with an excellent defense, and you got ambushed. You had a chance against Alabama, and then you got blown out in the second half. So I don't really see where you're going to get that 9th win in a regular season.
Florida's the one that if you made me look at, Missouri was this year's Tennessee. I think that there's going to be one every year in the SEC who's 11-2 out of nowhere, and I think that was Missouri this year. The one that I think is disappointing is Florida, but again, I thought they would lose at Florida because they always lose at Florida.
Yeah.
So I get that, but still sticking with disappointing.
Yeah, I think it's disappointing. I think you should have at least been 9-3 there.
I think a lot of people agree with you.
I would say disappointed in the fact that I thought guys like Squirrel White would have a good season.
Yeah.
We didn't get that.
Yeah.
I thought the offensive line would play better. We didn't get that. I would say that's disappointing, but again, 9-4, it's hard for me to say from my history, disappointment.
From the Vol teams you play.
Yeah, man.
All
yeah.
right. When we come back this past Thursday was the 25th anniversary of the Volunteers winning in the desert against Florida State to capture a national championship. We'll talk to Will Overstreet next about what's transpired over the last 25 years, where it's been, where it's going. That's next, going back on the Sports Source.